Nikola Tesla was a genius inventor of the early 20th century who created plenty of groundbreaking discoveries and inventions. His ideas were considered to be so unconventional that most of his work has captured the realm of science fiction and the imaginations of generations of scientists and engineers who have made many innovations based from Tesla's work during his lifetime. He holds more than 270 patents in 27 countries, which molded modern technology into what it is today. His acceleration of the alternating current electric power system that is still being utilized today brought on technological advancements due simply to his extraordinary mind. He was a pioneer of X-ray technology, is responsible for the invention of the remote control, and sent the first transatlantic radio transmission. While his undeniable contributions still exist today, not every one of Tesla's inventions made it to production. In this video, we're taking a closer look at the lost Nikola Tesla inventions. Before we jump into it, you know the routine: like, subscribe, and slam that notification bell for future tech videos. Earthquake machine. In many of Nikola Tesla's projects, energy, frequency, and vibration play key concept in which Tesla's progressive thoughts emerged. It was 1883 when he patented a mechanical oscillator that would vibrate at high speeds to generate electricity. The idea was to create a steam-powered oscillator, able to create various frequencies. If the frequency matched the resonance frequency, a receiving device should transform the mechanical oscillations back into an electrical current. The device was ready in 1897 and in 1898, while calibrating the machine to the vibration of the building that housed his laboratory in New York City. The ground began to shake so violently that it almost brought the building down. Years after patenting the invention, he told reporters of the incident, saying, quote, "Suddenly, all the heavy machinery in the place was flying around. I grabbed a hammer and broke the machine. The building would have been down about our ears in another few minutes. Outside the street, there was pandemonium. We told the police it must have been an earthquake. That's all they ever knew about it." End quote. After the incident, Tesla developed the concept of his machine as a tele-geodynamic oscillator, or an earthquake machine, which could be used by scientists to discover the geological properties of the Earth, and for engineers and prospectors to locate mineral and metal ore deposits underground. Tesla may have never gotten to complete his earthquake machine, but engineers and scientists continue to adhere with the same principles that Tesla's concepts were founded on. Wireless energy. Electricity is one of the things that is always considered associated with Nikola Tesla, the man who could seemingly control and touch electric currents using the renowned Tesla coil. Numerous patents in the field of electricity generation and transmission became Tesla's focus during the time, and believed that he could build a tower that would transmit electricity through the air. In 1901, Tesla managed to secure $150,000 from financier J.P. Morgan, an amount that would almost be $5 million in today's money. Tesla was tasked to build a 180-foot-tall, mushroom-shaped tower on the north shore of Long Island. The structure was called Warden Cliff Tower, would be capable of transmitting messages, telephony messages to ships at sea and across the Atlantic Ocean by using the Earth to conduct signals. The tower was also envisioned to transmit electricity wirelessly to New York City. Tesla believed that wireless power delivery was possible with his experiments on radio and microwaves, leading to his hypothesis that he could light up New York City by transmitting millions of volts of electricity through the air. However, the cost of the electricity transmission scheme was high, and Morgan refused to give Tesla any additional funding for the project. This could have also been because Tesla's plans would have competed against Morgan's own other energy sector holdings. Tesla eventually abandoned the project in 1906, with the Warden Cliff Tower dismantled in 1917. Electric-powered supersonic airship. After the failure of Warden Cliff, Tesla began to think more on his concepts towards aviation. In a 1919 magazine, Tesla discussed his work on developing a supersonic airship that would be powered by wireless electrical transmission from ground-based towers that could fly 40,000 feet off the ground at speeds of 1,000 miles per hour. Tesla estimated that using these airships, a trip from New York to London would be made in under 4 hours. These airships could fly these long routes with electricity transmitted wirelessly from power plants on the ground, eliminating the need for aircrafts to carry fuel. While his concept was truly ahead of his time, Tesla saw that his main problem of achieving this was the equipment of the plane's construction that could function at such high altitudes, and the protection of the navigators from the thin atmosphere and extreme temperatures. Even in the early beginnings of commercial flights within that decade, Tesla was already seeing flights soaring much higher, saying, quote, "To my mind, it is plain that the high altitudes will be determining factors in long-distance flight. Greater speed, greater distance, more comfort, and less danger, because when you have double the time to do a risky thing, we double the risk incurred. Less gasoline, less weight and expense." End quote. He remarked on the future of aviation when it comes to warring nations by adding, quote, "In the future, nations will fight each other thousands of miles apart. No soldier will see his enemy. In fact, future wars will not be conducted by men directly, but by the forces which, if it let loose, may well destroy civilization completely." End quote. Not only did Tesla predict modern planes involved in warfare, such as sonic jets and unmanned drones, but even the idea of weapons of mass destruction as well. Thought camera. One of Tesla's more eccentric ideas was the concept of photographing one's thoughts. In 1933, Tesla recounted the concept 30 years prior to a newspaper reporter by saying, quote, "I became convinced that a definite image formed in thoughts must, by reflex action, produce a corresponding image on the retina, which might possibly be read by a suitable apparatus. Now, if thought does reflect an image on the retina, it is a mere question of illuminating the same property and take photographs using the ordinary methods which are available to protect the image on a screen." End quote. The inventor was convinced of reflecting an image on an artificial retina that could capture the image and share it through projection. While this may not entirely be how thought processes work, there is still much we don't understand about the biological mechanism of human thought and consciousness that may find Tesla's grand thought to be worthy of study, since science fiction often interprets this thought camera concept in obtaining a character's secrets or their last known images. Remote-controlled navies. Long before remote-controlled toys or the more modern flying drones that many use today, Nikola Tesla showed how ahead of his time he was when he created the very first boat drone. In 1898, Tesla announced his invention of a tele-automatic boat guided by remote control. Aiming to express his invention that could help in military technology by having unmanned remote-controlled navies, Tesla conducted a public demonstration before a crowd in Madison Square Garden and showed how he could start, stop, and steer the small boat using radio signals. Tesla believed that the best way to prevent war was to make it pointless or catastrophic enough that no one would want to go to war ever again. He hoped that by removing humans from the equation of war, battleships will cease to be built, and the most tremendous artillery afloat will be of no more use than so much scrap iron. Artificial tidal waves. Like many of the renowned scientists of the era, engineers and physicists believed that the power of science could be harnessed to prevent war. Despite their beliefs, many of them also deployed military innovations that would prove to be great catalysts for change. Tesla himself wasn't a staunch supporter of war, but had the obligation to serve. In 1907, the New York World published a report on one of Tesla's military inventions. The idea was that wireless telegraphy would trigger the detonations of high explosives far at sea to generate tidal waves so vast that they would capsize entire enemy fleets. Tesla believed this artificial tidal wave would be the ultimate defense against enemy navies. The belief in this assumed defense technology was quite hyped, that the report in the paper even referred to enemy as navies as, quote, "useless as paper boats that babies float in bathtubs," end quote. Tesla had calculated that the collapsing gas bubble produced by the chain of explosions would produce tidal waves more than 100 feet high, enough to sweep away the biggest dreadnoughts of the era. However, tidal waves don't really quite work that way, as proven the numerous underwater bomb testings that the US and the Soviet Union performed in the 1940s and 50s. Death ray. In the later years of Tesla's life, he continued to spark plenty of visions with his creative mind. On his 78th birthday, Tesla told the New York Times that he had conceptualized his most important invention, one that would cause armies of millions to drop dead in their tracks. Tesla's idea was a military weapon that would accelerate mercury particles at 48 times the speed of sound inside a vacuum chamber and shoot a high-velocity beam through the air, with such tremendous energy that it could bring down a fleet of 10,000 Army airplanes at a distance of 250 miles. While the press called it the death beam, Tesla believed that it was rather a peace beam, owning to his shared belief that this powerful invention would push for pointlessness of war because of the beam's deadly potential. Tesla tried to shop this idea around to several governments in the years prior to his death, including the United States, but it was the Soviet Union that ended up as the only one to ever experiment with the idea at all, without any success having been achieved, or so we believe. While based in fiction, research into energy-based weapons inspired by past speculations and theories from men such as Tesla have contributed to real-life weapons in use by modern militaries that are technically known as directed energy weapons. So what do you think about the lost Nikola Tesla inventions? We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. And if you're new to the channel, show your support by giving us a thumbs up, subscribe, and slamming that notification bell for future videos. Until next time.